Thank you very much for tuning in. Darktoylord here. Today we're going to be taking a look at this new series of Machine Robo action figures produced by Action Toys. So for those who are not familiar with Machine Robo, been around for quite some time actually, and has been released here in the United States under the name of GoBots back in the 1980s. So this is the latest incarnation, and these are to be considered, I guess, how Transformers have the Masterpiece line. This would be essentially the equivalent of Masterpiece GoBots. But anyhow, moving on, this is Machine Robo Series 02 Rod Drill. It's also called Machine Robo Revenge of Kronos. So there's apparently a storyline that goes behind this. Looking at the packaging first, on the front we have a picture of the robot. Turn it over to the side, there's another picture of the robot. Opposite side shows vehicle form, and then the back also shows vehicle form. So let's go ahead, open this up, and take a closer look at the action figure itself. Okay, contents include the instruction manual, an addendum for a couple of steps that needed clarification. Figure is sealed in a plastic tray. It's actually two trays stacked, so we have the robot on one side and then we have the display stand on the other. So we're going to put the stand off to the side and we're going to take a closer look at the figure first. So in the tray we have a clip used to attach the robot to the stand. We have his weapons. We have the drill attachment. And we have Rod Drill himself. Alright, in regards to size, figure stands a little bit over 4.5 inches. Articulation is actually pretty decent. So the head here is on a ball joint, so you can spin it side to side. Up and down is restricted because of the torso. Shoulders are on ball joints. The elbow is a double jointed system, so we've got a 90-degree hinge here, but then it's also on a ball joint here. No articulation in the wrist. We also, in regards to the shoulders, you can move them forward and back like this. That's mainly because of the transformation, but you can use it for posing. He has a waist articulation. The hips are on ball joints, but because of the guard here, it makes moving the legs forward, that movement a little bit restricted. The thighs do swivel side to side. Knees, 90-degree articulation. Actually, it extends beyond that, but that's really because of the transformation. Feet go up and down. You can tilt side to side, and there is a heel piece here that can move around as well. Just pop that out because there we go, popped it back in place. But so the heel has some movement as well. All right, for the transformation, you would think it'd be kind of simple, but surprisingly it can be a little bit complicated, just because everything seems to move, but everything needs to be lined up perfectly for this to work. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do, we can attach the two weapons because it can transform with the weapons attached. So what we're going to do is we're going to attach them to the forearm like so. Alright, and they say we're gonna pull the arms forward. Let's focus there. So there is this tab here in the chest, and as you rotate this forward, there's a slot here in the shoulder that can go right into that tab. And the forearm, you actually want to swivel this in like so. Do the same thing for the other side. After you have the arms in place, this is where it gets kind of tricky. We need to flip them around, come to the back of the robot. We're going to take the heel and this whole assembly here, and we're going to pop this out. And we need to try to move this off to the side and out of the way. Instructions show something like this. The instructions actually show you attaching the legs, pegging them to each other first, but I find it's easier to proceed with the transformation as them separate and peg them back in together later. So we're going to pop this guy out over here as well, position this up out of the way. Okay, so what we're going to do now, actually let's do this because this is kind of tricky to get to later. So the feet here have these panels that pop out like this. So let's go ahead and pop these out. And then we gotta so carefully try to rotate the leg. Alright, so this is where it can get kind of tricky. I can zoom in here for you. So the heel attachment, as you try to bend the leg around, this whole assembly kind of gets in the way. So even though the instructions say let's put the arms in place now, I like to keep them out of the way because they can be cumbersome. So we'll move them back later. Let's get the legs in place first. And we just gotta try to work it past that heel part. So it's like this. And that panel here that we flipped out of the foot will cover up the midsection here. And then we can bring the arm back. And the hand is actually this peg here in the wheel treads that the hand is going to grab. So the hand's doing two things. It's grabbing the weapon and it's grabbing the treads. Like so. Alright, then we can move the foot back, and it comes around the back and up over the, what would have been the knee, the robot knee. There's a peg there and a slot in the heel. So it covers up like that. So that's one side transform. Let's go ahead and do the other side. Alright, so I got the other leg transformed, and this is where I mentioned that everything needs to be aligned kind of perfectly. So you can see everything seems just a little off, so we just gotta work on positioning things into place, and we can snap the legs together. You can see there's a peg on one and a slot on the other side to tap them together. And then just kind of work everything into place. One thing that I forgot to mention earlier when we were looking at the robot is that this is a combination of die-cast metal and plastic. So we have some die-cast here in the legs and then some die-cast in the chest. So that's the transformation. One thing we got to do is Well, they show it in the instructions as this being one version complete, but also since the drill is kind of short and plus it has a head on the other side, you can pop this off. It's just on a ball joint, and take the larger drill and pop that on. Now, I'm not sure how I feel about having to pop pieces on and off. I would just have like maybe a mechanism on this to cover the face. I could deal with a shorter drill, just if there's a mechanism to cover the face. That would have been nice. One thing to mention also is this is ages 15 and up. Don't give this to children. This is sharp. Child will get hurt with that. In regards to the stand, the instructions don't actually show you how to put it together. They just show you two pictures of it in its final stage. You can see those there. So I guess let's try to figure this out. So we got what looks to be two platform pieces. Some rail pieces. These guys. These guys. Let's pour these out. Alright, so that's all the pieces. And rather than have you watch me struggle through this entire thing, I'm just going to try to assemble it, and I'll pick this back up once I'm done. Alright, so I'm actually kind of making a little bit of progress, but I don't know if I'm going to get it exactly, because I'm looking at the picture here, and I think this is what we're going for. This is actually looks like it's more than one display stand stuck together. So I figured out the two bases go together like this, and then what I've done so far is I've taken all the straight pieces and all the joints and I made this arm, and this is going to peg in. These pegs here go in here. Then we can use these as railings on the side. One thing that I'm not sure about is that this picture actually shows railings propping it up so it's at an angle. I would kind of think that you would want the robot standing flat on this. So I'm going to just play around a little bit more, see what I come up with. Alright, so I got the stand put together. And I don't really understand how this is supposed to work. So I have the piece attached that attaches to the robot, and it actually would plug in to his waist right here. And of course, that's just popped off, and I can put that back on. So if I plug this in here, like so, then even, and I put this back over here, and I don't know how to do it. Any way I position that arm, I'm just going to have a levitating robot. So I'm not really sure about the functionality of that particular stand, unless it's for display purposes for vehicle mode, and I can have his drill mode just kind of like floating through the air. So yeah, I don't understand the stand at this moment, so we're going to put that back there. Overall thoughts about the robot? Not bad. I do like the die-cast and plastic parts. I like the posability. I like the updated look and feel of having been a modern GoBot, masterpiece style GoBot. Maybe a little bit larger. I would have appreciated more. I mean, GoBots themselves were kind of small. Sorry. GoBots themselves were kind of small, so maybe that's the reason why to keep them a little bit smaller. But I like big toys, so if I could have had this like 6 inches taller, 6 inches tall, maybe a little bit taller, that would have been super cool. But all in all, not bad. I don't like that the drill's a separate piece. I don't like the stand. I do like the figure. So that's that in a nutshell. If you have any questions at all, let me know. But as always, thank you very much for tuning in. Please remember to comment, like, and subscribe. And until next time, we'll talk to you later.